Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you, Mr. Secretary, for being here. As you know, on January the 11th, President Trump told us, quote, "We have to create new bidding procedures for the drug industry because they're getting away with murder. We're the largest buyer of drugs in the world, and yet we don't bid properly. We're going to start bidding. We're going to save billions of dollars," end quote. Unfortunately, since then, we've had radio silence. In fact, we can't even get a tweet about the outrageous amount of price gouging that is occurring by pharmaceutical companies in this country. The budget that you present today is deficient not only in the harm that it does, which is great, but in the omissions that it contains. And this is particularly true with reference to pharmaceutical prices. Unlike President Obama, who presented a budget that had a provision specifically addressing the high cost of drugs and appeared to do the same thing that President Trump called for in January and last year by giving you, as Secretary, the authority to negotiate drug prices for Medicare, said that it would save $140 billion by doing that, and included a provision increasing transparency of prescription drug pricing that would lead to another $21 billion in savings. Your budget is silent on the issue of bidding or negotiating or doing anything meaningful to stop prescription price gouging. And I would just ask you to provide an answer in writing, since my time is short, as to whether the administration has rejected President Trump's bidding approach of January, as well as the approach that President Obama presented. He likes to reject just about everything that has Obama associated with it, or whether you have a plan to do something to implement what President Trump promised the American people last year he would do. Second, we learned only this week about the outrageous overcharging of the government through the HHS Office of Inspector General on EpiPens, $1.27 billion. I would ask you to answer in writing regarding how much of that money the government is getting back in the alleged settlement that began last year that Mylan announced in November or December, and I'll forward you documents on that. And finally, 50 of us asked in April President Trump to use the existing authority he has right now so that taxpayers are able to access the drugs that they paid for the research to get those drugs in accordance with reasonable standards, asking the National Institutes of Health to be involved in that. We've received no answer to our inquiry to President Trump, and I'll forward you a copy of that and ask you to provide a written answer concerning what the administration's position is. Seems to love to do executive orders and could do one on this and help consumers across the country. Thank you.